Gonna need a bigger board. Welcome to I Hope You Suffer.
It took me a minute to get that it was a Ouija board joke.
Yeah.
That was so stupid.
How would that help?
I mean, based
How
on
could
the
it
size
hurt?
of the planchette and that board, they
Yeah.
definitely needed a bigger board.
The biggest planchette I've ever seen.
This is episode 106 of I Hope You Suffer. My name is Nathan.
I'm Kit.
Oh, I'm Katie.
And this week we watched 2020's Ouija Sharks. Don't know why I say it different every time. And we are
Shark.
joined by our first ever 3-time returning
Wow.
guest,
Woo.
Michelle Ann Olsen.
Wow.
Oh my god, I'm honored.
Yeah.
All shark movies.
Yes, always.
Yeah, I have a thing.
Unfortunately, you got the worst shark movie out of the bunch.
Possibly. Yeah.
Best shark puppet, though.
Yes. Adorable.
I don't know. Compared to what was Squiggly? Was that
Squiggles.
his name? Squiggly.
Zombie shark.
Yeah. Wow, guys, this movie. Is this the newest movie that we've done so far? 2020.
Probably.
I think so.
But it was in production limbo for 2 years.
Yeah, it was made in
wow.
2017, but didn't come out till 2020.
How has this film been in production limbo? As far as I can tell, it was not produced.
It doesn't seem like it.
God, this movie was such a perfect tagline and title, and
Poster.
oh boy.
It was not great.
I have to like kind of disclose something. I was 30 seconds into this movie when I was like, wait a second. And I was like, that looks so familiar to me. And so I do have to disclose this. Sure enough, this movie was filmed in Ottawa, my hometown, and Hamilton, Ontario, and was actually directed by Brett Kelly, but under the name Scott
Yeah.
Patrick, who I know peripherally through the very small Ottawa theater and film communities. So I feel super strange talking about how awful this
That's
movie.
amazing.
Yeah, no, I couldn't believe it. I thought maybe you had chosen it on purpose, like for me to come
No.
in this one knowing that it came out of, Ottawa of all places. So it is
No.
it is a Canadian production.
Well, I
That's
could
what
tell
it
by the way they were talking, it was probably.
And the fact that they were all supposed to like be in sunny beach weather, but it's all like overcast and blatantly like a lake, and
Wow, that's so strange. No, that is just totally a coincidence. I don't know how through the internet of sharks. I don't know. I'm still very flustered right now. I don't know.
The
Somebody
internet of
else.
sharks. That's a shirt.
The shark internet. I don't know who found this movie. Probably Nathan, maybe. I don't know. And I just became obsessed with trying to see it. And finally, like, literally this week, it became free on Prime for us because I had it on my watch list and I would always, like, look to see. Thank God it was free. That's all I'm going to say. So, yeah, it just was a really weird synchronicity.
there's an account I follow on like the podcast Instagram that like anytime they just kind of post a bunch of sort of new stuff. I think they're a podcast, but I'm not sure because I never actually ever see them post about an episode. But anytime like there's new movie posters, they always like post them, and I saw that one pop up and I was like, what the fuck is this?
Great poster.
So yes,
It's so good. Yeah.
this is like the title and the idea. I was like super behind, and then I watched it, but also at the same time, like the ending baffled me so much that I'm kind of like.
Oh my god. Yeah.
I had nearly forgotten. Oh my god.
Also, like the Brett Kelly has directed like 4 other shark movies or something. Let's see.
Yeah,
Raiders
Raiders of the Lost Shark.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Something
Jurassic Shark.
But then, so he's directed, like I think he's known for this kind of B-grade horror stuff, but
Yeah.
notice that this one is under his pseudonym, Scott Patrick, because not even he wanted to be associated with it.
Well,
Like-
he has 3 or 4 under Scott Patrick, and I'm wondering if it's like they're all for the same like production, or like the same company released them. Like maybe he had like a rights issue or something, to where he had like the only way he could like make these movies with other companies is under a different, like a pseudonym. Because it's like Ouija Shark, Raiders of the Lost Shark is Scott Patrick, Rise of
also,
the Black
Planet
Bat.
Blood.
Yeah. Also, I really want to see She-Rex.
Yeah, me too.
I'm
looks
pretty
like it's just
interested
a
in Heavy
short.
Metal Werewolf.
Oh,
The
man.
Spacemen, Go-Go Girls, and the Great Easter Hunt.
Damn.
And there's also Spaceman, Go-Go Girls, and the True Meaning of Christmas.
Oh, that sounds so heartwarming.
I don't know. I think to be fair, like this movie, I knew that it wasn't like, because I looked up shots of it for that Ouija shark painting that I did, and so I knew from like the shots that it probably wasn't going to be great. I wasn't really sure on the spectrum of like good bad how it was going to be. It had a lot to live up to, and it just didn't make it for me.
It like it's not like the worst movie we've done by a long shot. It just like the first, it's only an hour and 10 minutes. Like easily 12 of those minutes were like opening and closing credits. But like the first 20 minutes or so, like nothing really happens, and then you're left with like 25 minutes of like something happening, and then just like the most baffling ending to a movie I think I've ever seen.
I mean, yeah.
But I will get into that. Like we said, directed by Brett Kelly under the pseudonym Scott Patrick, written by David A. Lloyd, and starring a bunch of people.
One of whom I'm pretty sure I worked with at the Haunted Walk of Ottawa.
Amazing.
Yeah. No, this is like a very small community.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. No, I was tripping a little bit.
I feel like we should have just had you on for the next episode of Jaws of Revenge. You'd be like, "Oh, my good friend Michael Caine."
Yeah, whatever.
All right, so I guess, Kit, I know you did not enjoy this movie because I saw your Letterboxd.
Yeah, not a fan. I wanna talk to literally the only person on Letterboxd that gave it a 4.5-star review.
Yikes.
What prevented it from getting 5 stars? I'm curious.
Oh, that's a good
The
question.
long credit scene.
I gave it 1 star solely for the closed captioning of shark roaring or growling. All right, so Katie, I guess get into it.
Before that, I have some very startling news.
Uh-oh.
I was Googling bull sharks for something that's the secret, and I found out that there's actually 4 different types of sharks that are commonly found in the Mississippi waters.
Mm-hmm.
So we were like stunned about the bull sharks in the first place. We're like, what? There's sharks there? There's 4 other kinds of sharks that are just like swimming around there on the daily. People
Spider
should not.
sharks.
Spider sharks. And I thought that was like really troubling. Why is that not more known? Like,
I mean, I'm sure
Bull
people that
sharks.
live near the Mississippi are aware.
Bull sharks can live in salt and for a short period of time freshwater, like salt and freshwater. So they can travel inland for a period.
oh, we know, thanks to the documentary Mississippi River Sharks.
That
Oh,
that
right.
was
I'm sorry.
also,
I'm very
I think,
informed.
Ozark Sharks is when we looked that up.
Yeah, it probably was. But there's also
hard pass.
spinner sharks, blacktip sharks, and Atlantic sharp-nosed sharks live in the Mississippi. Pretty crazy.
Oh my God. Is that like a shark versus alligator situation?
There's no way that movie isn't done already.
It has to be a thing. But
Yeah.
like, does that happen in real life in the wild in the Mississippi?
It's got to.
Oh,
Or do you
I hope
think
there's
that
video.
do you think that they're just like kind of like they're all just so macho they just like slide by each other just like, hey, I'm a shark and you're an alligator, but we're not gonna.
they're
I
like
see.
they're like power respects power.
Yeah, they're just like nonchalant about it. It's like dudes that are like really jacked and they're just like walking past each other at the gym, just like, hey, bro. And
Bro.
the guy's like,
I-
dude.
I'll give everybody one guess. I looked up shark versus alligators. What do you think the first state with a headline is?
Florida.
Florida.
Yep. Shark
see-
versus gators. It's a bloodbath when they fight each other from Florida today.
Oh no.
I see a YouTube video that's a bull shark versus a crocodile.
I don't want to see that.
Who won?
Unless it's the alligator
It
wrestling
looks like
that dude.
it looks like the crocodile.
Oh no.
Really? Well, they have like better mobility, don't they?
Yeah, I
Then-
would assume, especially just like the spin attack thing they could do would probably.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I'd have to see their stats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think bull sharks probably have better stamina, but the alligators have better attack. So, like, if they can get in there, just have a quick job of it.
I don't think I know enough about alligators to like comment because I would think that like the bull shark's hunting prowess would be superior, but I don't know what the alligators are bringing to the game.
Yeah, I don't either.
Tail whip.
I just want to point out that some of the plot keywords for Ouija Shark are father-daughter relationship, girl
Oh.
in a brassiere, murdered one by one, friendly death in the forest, lagoon.
Yeah, can we talk about how like 80% of this movie takes place in the woods?
Yeah.
Yeah, a park outside of Ottawa.
It makes a lot of sense now because like the layout of this movie made no sense to me because it was like the girl shows up in a car and she walks down to the beach, which is fine. But then her friends are like, "Hey, come meet me." And instead of driving there, she just walks to the people's house, like through the forest. And then I don't know, like the way everything was laid out made no sense, but
Well, also somebody goes to the store, like down the street to the store, and she says specifically like a couple miles up the way, but then she's walking through like deep forest.
yeah, it's very strange.
Katie, you missed the tagline "friendly relationship."
That was the next
Or,
one. I was
what's,
gonna go
this is
for.
the only movie under that tag.
Who
Huh?
is friendly relationship in this movie? I felt like the girls were all kind of like,
Caddy.
yeah.
The shark and the board.
Oh, that's true. Oh my god. Okay, let's
Holy shit. Why are we not watching Alien Shark's Greatest Hits? Oh my god, this is a documentary?
What?
Is it about a goblin shark?
I don't know. Apparently it's a documentary about alien sharks. Oh, is this maybe a TV show? This looks like there's like a series, Alien Sharks Close Encounters. This might be
Discovery
this might
Channel UK.
yeah, this might be about like deep ocean ones, like the ones that like barely ever get seen.
Yeah, this one is
Yeah, it's Shark
glow
Week
in the
stuff.
dark sharks, alien shark.
I need to
I
watch
thought
all of
it.
these.
I thought it was aliens and sharks.
Mm-hmm. Same.
Well, because
Okay.
What I was hoping for.
it popped up under the fucking tag of ghost shark.
Well, yeah, that's an actual like deep water species of shark.
Yeah, it's just it was just weird because it was like the number one, the movie Ghost Shark, then this movie, and then Alien Shark's Greatest Hits, and I was like, what is this? All right, anyway.
Yeah. Oh, I was like, every time they said the name Ghost Shark, I was like, excuse me, sir, this movie, Ghost Shark, it is not. So basically, this movie starts with the longest credit sequence, which I thought they did away with in the 90s, but here we go. We just sat through a bunch of credits. Then we get just like, biker chick who pulls up in her car and is immediately mad that her friends didn't meet her there. So she goes, her name is Jill. She's like the main character.
Yeah.
She's got like 12 piercings. She goes into the woods. She's like walking through the woods. It seems kind of weird though, because she like acts like she's lost, even though it's like a very clear path down to the water. She's on her phone a lot. She's like mad or whatever. She gets down to the water, and I wrote the lighting is so weird. It was like so white looking. It was like really strange.
So at least I know the sci-fi movies all film in the winter, which is why all of the shark movies, it's supposed to look like summer, but half the people in them are wearing like sweaters and hoodies and stuff on the beach.
Right.
So I assume this was probably the same thing, because at number one,
No.
It looked very cold in that water when she gets in.
But honestly, if it had been filmed in the winter, it would be under like several feet of snow and minus 40.
Like,
So I think that frigid water is probably like Ottawa in the summer.
oh really? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Because she gets in, and you see her when she like actually starts like getting, it's like sitting into the water. She like shivers for a minute, and I was like, this does not look like fun sunbathing time.
No, that's what it's like to live in Ontario. That's like some summer fun.
I mean, look, I'll take it over the 102 degrees or whatever.
Yeah,
Going
That's
on.
fine.
96% humidity.
Kit living air conditioner free right now.
Finally got fixed today, thank God. A 96-degree house is not great,
Oh God.
in case anyone was wondering.
Yeah, that's what,
Oh.
like, when that tornado hit, like, behind my house and took out my power for, like, 2 weeks. It was, like, the middle of August or something. It was terrible. Katie, you want to
Yeah.
complain about not having an air conditioner?
I also don't have an air conditioner because no one in California does. You know what? Honestly, though, it's normally super fine. Like most days, it's like 60 or 70 degrees and it's gorgeous. But whenever we have a heat wave, it like literally is 90 in our apartment, no matter like what we do, and it's the fucking worst. But right now, it's fine. It feels nice in fall. Happy September, everybody.
Boo.
Halloween.
That's right. I decorated yesterday. I'm so
Nice.
excited.
Did you put pumpkin spice on the table?
No.
You have to spice
I-
the table. It's the
yeah,
September tradition.
I don't have any, so I just can't. I just like dumped a bunch of apples and cinnamon sticks everywhere.
That'll do.
Those apples will hold up well.
Yeah, just apples and ground cinnamon. I just sprinkled.
Let them stay until the November 1st.
Actually, they would probably be fine. Last year, I bought like one of those little mini striped pumpkins in like August, and I had it until like earlier this year.
No, I'm talking about
And
the
it was
apples.
like still fine. No, I know. I'm saying they would probably not rot or anything. They would probably be fine because I had a live pumpkin that was alive in my apartment for like a year, and it was still fine. But I was like, this is very strange because normally in Virginia, you put your pumpkin out and it's rotted like the day you carve it. So I was like, this is very strange. So I got rid of it. Anyways, it was probably like a magic pumpkin, and I just like tossed it out because I'm paranoid.
Yeah, you could have been
You know-
living in like Ghost Pumpkin movie.
Well, I'm not. Honestly, I was like, what if there's bugs in here? I
Good.
don't want to see it.
Ghost Pumpkin trademark. I hope you suffer.
Pumpkin. You carved me, now I'm gonna carve you.
Yeah.
That's our tagline. Oh, jeez. Okay, so she takes her clothes off. She's got a bikini on. She sunbathes for like 1 second.
On the rocks.
Then, yeah, on the rocks. Like, then she gets in the water. There's like a bunch of underwater shots of like nothing because you can't see anything.
That's how I knew. That's how I knew that it was filmed in an Ontario lake. I was like, oh my God. Like, it was so familiar to me. The inability to even like see her feet or like her lower legs. No, that's when I looked it up and I was like, oh, of course, Hamilton.
That's hilarious.
Yep.
Gross. So she hears a noise. She's like, just like splashing around in the water. She hears a noise and I guess she says, "Guys, is that you?" And I was like, you're in the, like, I don't know.
They pop up out of the water, like they've been down there holding their breath for like an hour.
Just down there pushing grit and mud around just to like make the water all muddy.
Oh my God. This is just what I wrote, like the script in this movie. This is not the best. So, something like brushes up against her, I guess, and she gets scared and gets out of the water, which, like, you shouldn't be in the water by yourself anyways, to be honest.
Sorry.
And then we finally see the Ouija board, which is made out of, like, driftwood sort of looking stuff, washes up onto the water, and she takes it. The phone rings, and she gets scared, so she's immediately mean to her friend about it. And then that's when, like, they're like, come to this house, I guess. I don't know. This whole part like made no sense to me, except for, I guess, that they were trying to set up her leaving the car there, but it just like didn't make sense the whole time.
And I guess she had to like find the board.
Yeah, right. So she takes the board, of course. Like, girl, don't.
As one does.
No, one does not.
Did anyone notice that the board was blatantly like a sign you hang in your house because it still had like the string on the back of it?
Yeah,
Yep.
I saw that towards the end, and I was like,
I was trying to figure out if I could figure out who sold it, but
I have some trivia about the board. Did you notice that halfway through the movie it has a weird stain on it?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where they spilled orange juice on it. Legit. No, legit. Like, that was in an interview that Brett Kelly gave.
Oh, amazing.
Oh, that rules.
I just assumed, like, I don't think I noticed, like, the beginning that it didn't have it. I just noticed, at one point that, like, I looked up and there was a stain on it, and I just assumed it was supposed to be, like, a water stain.
Watermark, yeah, me too.
Oh, I ruined it.
I mean,
No, it's OJ.
I like the orange juice better, so.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so now we're introduced to these 4 other girls. I think that their names are Kim, Donna, Tiffany, and Jen.
You made
And
all those up.
I probably did, to be honest
No one's
with
named
you.
Tiffany.
Oh wait, somebody's name. Oh, was it Gypsy?
Yeah.
Are you sure it's not Concerned Mom?
Oh no, that person. There was a person that is a gypsy. Oh, that she's not. I wrote she was a psychic. She was not. Anyway, Tiffany. Yeah. So
I think she was
it's...
Officer Jeb.
Probably. The 3 girls and Officer Jeb are having a sleepover. That's probably a different movie. So they're like watching this house, and Jill, who is the girl from the beginning, shows up and is just like, "Hey, friends." I was calling her Ouija board at this point because I didn't know what her name was. The girl with the glasses, who I think is Tiffany, like she really wants to go swimming, but then she goes out to the back where the pool is and immediately sees this dude washing his car and is just like watching him for like a really creepy amount of time, and then it's just like, "Hey, do you need help?" And he's like, "Yeah, okay," and then she essentially disappears for the rest of the movie.
This scene is so weird.
It's really long.
It's just
yes,
like, I don't know, like she like takes her shirt off, so she's just like in her bra helping him like wash the car, and he's just like giggling and spraying water in the air, but in the opposite direction, because I'm assuming it was cold out. It's just so strange.
Like, I don't think they, like, established a relationship or, like, introduced themselves. Like, it cut straight to that.
Yeah.
And it was long, and it was uncomfortable. And also, he's like a Hollywood 1, but like an Ottawa 10.
Oh, goodness.
I'm moving to Ottawa.
Sounds great, yeah. So there's like a montage of the girls swimming and being obnoxious because they're just like yelling for no reason. Jill is like, I don't feel good, I'm gonna go lay down. This is when we get the slow-mo car wash to country music. And I wrote, like, because then Jill has a nightmare of finding... Oh, so the girls are like, okay, well, we're gonna grill, and then we'll wake you up when the food is done. So Jill, meanwhile, is sleeping and has a nightmare of finding the board, which was all really normal. So I was, like, really confused as to why she was having a nightmare, except for then we see just, like, a sneak peek of the shark when she wakes up. And the girls... So now we cut to, like, they're finished eating, and they're like, oh, so what do we want to do? Play some games or some junk? And then Jill's like, oh, I have a game. And she brings out the Ouija board, and they start to use it. And at this point, I'm like, Tiffany is missing. She has been washing this car for hours at this point, and none of them are like, where did she go? Like, she's just gone for half of the movie.
What was...
And they just, like, don't even...
Was it No Mercy, where, like, the two women just disappear for, like, most of the movie, and nobody cares?
Yeah, the couple. Yeah, and they just, like, don't even notice until they, like, find them dead or whatever.
I feel like, I
listen.
mean, like, I didn't necessarily bump into that, because I also forgot that she existed until she shows back up. But it's also, like,
But they're best friends.
I give it a little more slack, just for the fact that this movie is basically 55 minutes long. Like, if this was, like, an hour-and-a-half movie, and, like, none of that was explained, I would have been, like, have found that more of an issue. But with, like, the length, I was kind of like, alright, like, whatever.
Save up some time. Don't explain anything to me, please.
Yeah, pretend you're making a short and just, like... I get it.
They pretty much
gone.
didn't explain anything, so...
Out banging car
anyways.
wash guy.
What?
She was out banging car wash guy.
I mean, I guess so.
For
I mean,
3
I
days
have
or
to
something.
assume that they, like, saw her doing that or something, because it was, like, right outside their house.
Maybe they were washing the car the whole time.
I think he was in their driveway.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, what is going on here?
My theory is they just washed the car for 3 days straight.
That's what it seems like, because, like, they've gone swimming. Jill has gone to sleep enough to have a nightmare. They've grilled and are finished eating and are playing a board game at this point, and she's still not back. So, and that car looked pretty clean when she was, like, oogling him at that point. So,
Oogling.
huh?
Oogling.
Yeah, she was. Okay, so the girls are doing the Ouija board, and they're using, they're Ouijaing, and the one girl, I think her name is Jen, with the blonde hair, is like, asks if it's a good spirit, and the spirit says no. Then one of them asks, how did you die? And it says, hungry.
Wait, you're not going to talk about the absurdly sized planchette? Like,
oh, well, I thought we already covered that.
Oh, sorry. I can't.
It's like half the size of the board.
I can't get over it.
I also, like, didn't... I mean, I probably missed it, but I did not see it in the beginning when she picked up the board.
No. She had it in her bag, maybe, because she's, like, a goth chick, which I think is established by, like, her piercings and her tattoos.
Family
and her
apparently
goat
has,
shirt.
like... Goat is the band. That
I know.
Her family has some sort of, like...
ties to the occult for some reason.
Yeah, so you gotta carry one
which
around.
is never established.
No, he's just like, well, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. That's the part I think that bothered me the most. So
The planchette rules, though, because it covers almost all of the letters on the board, so I don't... And, like, the board is really, like... short, so even to get to like, if it like wanted to go down to like goodbye or whatever, it would be completely off the board. It would have just fallen off the table they were on, the size of that like planchette.
That breaks every rule of Ouija. Like they're asking for trouble.
Yeah. It also was like a really weird like the font on the Ouija board is like really strange to me. It's like it's not papyrus, but it's like something crazy
Chiller.
like that. Yeah.
Chiller font.
I wish it was. Okay, so and then they're like hungry, haha, that's funny. And then somebody asks where are you from, and it just says hungry again. And they're like, that's weird. And then it starts doing a figure 8, which for anyone that doesn't know, that is signifying that a demon is talking to you.
That's bad.
It's really bad.
That's
And
when you
they're
say
like,
goodbye.
but they didn't. So
No, of course
and then the board, I guess, like shakes, and we get this like sparkle effect that looks like a random battle encounter in Final Fantasy for some reason. It's like, pew! And there's a shark head, and they're like, "Wow, that was weird." And then Jill is like, "Hey, like we gotta keep your fingers on it, concentrate." And the girls are like, "No, like I don't want to do this anymore. Like this is freaking weird." And one of them, I don't know if it was Jill, but one of them asks who will die first, and I was like, "Excuse me? Why is it like what?" And the girls are just like, "No, this is really dumb and stupid. I don't want to do this anymore." So they stop playing. Then like Jill just like wakes up and calls her dad and is like, "I had a nightmare. I found this Ouija board," and he's just like, "I told you not to do Ouija boards." And she's like, "Well, I know, Dad, but we did it anyways," and the board shook. And he says, this is like before, first of all, like telling your kids not to play with a Ouija board, I feel like is totally fine and normal. Like, that's fine. But then when she's like, "Oh, the board was shaking," he says, "I'm not familiar with that type of manifestation." I was like,
Okay.
What?
Okay, but like this is the thing. Like apparently her father is like, I don't know, a professor of the occult or something. But like
Yeah.
none of that is established, and he's talking about like apparently he's familiar with other kinds of manifestations. Like, are we just gonna let that lie? We're just gonna,
They thought we would.
I guess.
I was just like reeling from this. I was like, wait, what? Well, why is Dad like he's just like, I'm gonna go do some research about this, and he says no more fooling around with the occult. Like,
I want to also point out that at no point in this conversation does she mention anything about sharks.
oh, she doesn't?
I don't think so. And
I don't
but
think
yeah,
she did.
And then the next time we see him, he just has like every resource available on sharks from the local library, like spread out.
On his, yeah.
Was losing my mind when they showed him doing his research, and it's just print out pictures of great white sharks.
Like at all angles on his table.
But she didn't even mention sharks. Like but I guess they're like psychically connected, right? Because they're an occult family.
Yeah.
Who knows? Jesus. So put a pin in that, in occult dad, because he's gonna go do some research. So the next morning, there's just this like couple walking through the woods in silence, and they stop for a picnic, and there's like all this banter about eating and swimming soon
Crackers.
after, and eating. Like, it's just like really weird. So like essentially this kid is like in love with this girl, and she's like kind of being a bitch about it. Like you could tell that she knows that he likes her, but she's being like, whatever are you talking about? What did you want to ask me? I don't understand, Philip. What's happening? And I'm just like, can you shut up? She drops a cracker in her bathing suit top, and he's like awkward about it, but then doesn't actually tell her that she's dropped the cracker.
I think that bothered me more than anything else in this movie, that cracker is still there. It's still there.
He's just like, and she's like, what? And he's like, well, anyway, you know how we went to prom together, and like, I don't know how you felt about it, but I know how I felt about it. And she's like, what are you saying? I just like don't even understand. And so then he's just like, well, I just wanted to ask you a question. And he's like, and she's like, you wanted to ask me a question? What's the question? And he's just like, he said something like, what the hell is that? And she was like, what the hell is that? What the hell is what? And then I do have to say, the parts with the shark are my favorite because anytime they show him, he's just like really casually somewhere. They're like, what is that? And they show the shark, but he's not facing them. He's just like floating somewhere, just like minding his own business. And he's just chilling.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my God, is that a shark? And then he's like, or is that a ghost? And then they're like, and they like run opposite directions. And the thing that also bothers me about this movie is that like whoever's like running away from the shark is just like really casually jogging. They're not like screaming. They're just like, it's just like a light jog.
That's just smart though, because you're saving you're not running out of breath because you're not screaming. You can run longer.
I just
Makes
feel
sense.
like I don't know about that.
I really liked, so they see the shark and they establish that it's a shark or a ghost or maybe a ghost shark, I don't know. But then the next shot is like him straight up jogging away. And like, I burst out laughing because he like straight up left her. It's just him jogging away from the shark. And he's totally 100% forgotten about her.
Well, then she goes, thank God it's going after him first. And I was like, you guys are both pieces of shit. Like
That's the only time in this movie I cackled, like intentionally because of the film.
Anytime oh my God, this scene we're gonna get to later. Anytime the shark shows up, I enjoyed myself. But outside of the shark, I just wish the shark was in the whole movie.
Yeah, I like
so
anytime he's just like, there's a point later where he like they just show him go like flying above somebody. That I was like, I just like the idea that he's just kind of just bombing around the
floating
woods.
around. Yeah.
Just slumming it.
Yeah.
I never really understood his motivation, but he seems like a chill dude.
Yeah, I think
He's
just hungry.
you know? Yeah, he's just like, well, also like the whole thing with him like swimming over them or whatever is that they totally act like he doesn't see them or he doesn't
so
know they're
good.
there, and I'm just like, weird choice, but okay.
Starting to come around on this movie.
So yeah, the shark gets him, and then he goes after the girl who's also just like casually jogging, and then we just see like a cutaway and her body parts splatter against a tree, which I thought were pretty funny. In my mind, I'm imagining someone just standing there like throwing a fake arm at a tree, and I
just
thought
like
it was pretty funny.
squirting some Spirit Halloween like fake blood just out of a big tube. Yeah.
There you go. She's dead. And that's like pretty much the only gore we see. Like we see someone's arm later, but it's like you don't see any of the kills. They're all pretty much off screen, except, well, we'll get to that, I guess. So Donna, I think her name was Donna. She's like the girl he was making jokes about. She's like a stoner, basically. She goes out. This is the scene that I saw when I was Googling reference pictures for this, so I wasn't really sure what to expect. But she goes out by the pool and she smokes, and she's like immediately like tripping. Like it probably wasn't just weed, if you ask me, but because she's like, haha, what? Oh, I'm by myself, and she's like dancing to music that's not there. It was really strange. And then she goes, well, there's something you don't see every day, and it's just like the shark is just there floating above the pool.
Just
And he's
having
just
a good time.
hovering there. I loved like whenever they showed the shark, even though he was just like very casually chilling, it was like blank, and like made that like scary like horror movie noise or whatever. And he's just there. Then she like essentially is like talking to herself. She offers the shark a blunt and asks if it is a air balloon.
I do believe that the shark takes a hit, though. The shark takes a hit.
I couldn't really tell. I think, yeah, it was like, yeah, it was doing something. So,
Well, it like went up his nostrils, so
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't really tell. There was like a lot of shark jiggling going on, so I wasn't really sure like what was supposed to be happening.
Shark
He's chill,
jiggling,
though.
trademark I be suffer.
Was that a subtitle? Shark jiggling?
Yes. So then, there's just like a crack of lightning, and she and the shark are gone. So I don't really understand like that
Whenever
aspect
the shark,
of it.
what's up with when the shark attacks someone? Like, they just vanish.
I don't know.
Have you ever been
And
attacked by a ghost shark?
I guess you raise a fair point. I had not considered that.
I just feel like there could have been a better way to do that, maybe. The thing that I thought was funny about this scene is that, like, they do the like a lightning bolt sound, and the shark and her are gone, but then it pans over, and you see just his tail, like, flopping out of frame. I was like, what?
It's very quick.
It was.
Lightning fast.
Lickety
Ooh.
speed. She's gone. Okay, so then this is the next morning. So everyone, the remaining 3 girls are just like acting like they've got a hangover. Jill comes out and is basically like a bitch to them
They're
about.
so mean to one another. God.
I know. Well, and it's like, okay, so one of the girls, I think it's Kim, her and Jill were roommates in college. So she
Right.
invited her, and all the other girls are like her now friends, but they're not. They make it very clear that Jill is a different kind of person. Like,
Jill is unwelcome.
right, because she's like the weird goth occult girl, I guess. And so I don't know, the relationship between them is really weird. But essentially she's just like, where's my Ouija board? I want it back. You need to give that back to me. And they're just like, calm the fuck down. We don't want your Ouija board. Like, so then Jen is essentially just like, well, we'll feel better after we have some brekkie. So she's going to go to the store and buy some stuff for brekkie.
I hated this so
Which
much.
Which is breakfast for those who don't know what brekkie is. So, this is when we get the scene of the dad doing his research, and I don't know, I guess he figures out that he's doing like research on quote unquote spirit animals, and is talking about, I don't know, like reading about the shark as a spirit animal, and he was like, why would anyone want to summon a shark? And then he does like a tarot reading for himself about it.
Oh my
which is
God.
nice.
That tarot deck was ghetto. Like, it was like printed on like Staples brand printing paper.
Yeah, it really did look like
It's
it.
so good. Like it might as well have just had like stick figures drawn on it.
Oh yeah, so essentially the tarot reading is like death, and he's just like, I gotta go, and instead of calling his daughter, he like gets in the car. So Jen, who is going to the grocery store that is miles away, she's trekking through the deep forest, finds the Ouija board, and she's like, that's weird, why is that here? Then we get introduced to the officer, like this like officer who, like, I don't know, it's like the girl who got the chip in her bathing suit earlier, it's her mom. It's just like, officer, my daughter's missing, she's been gone for a couple hours. And he's just like, no, she has to be missing for like 24 hours, but go down to the station and do paperwork anyway. So then he like calls his brother-in-law, who is also an officer, and is like, you need to go to Sarsaparilla Trail to look for this girl. And this whole scene takes like 20 minutes, and it's like 2 seconds of thing, because the brother-in-law is just like, my brother-in-law is so stupid, I just want to drink beer. And
Why does he sound like that? Like,
Oh.
why did he have that accent? Why?
Is that not how
I'm
everybody sounds in Canada?
No, so like they like, so all the license plates say Ottawa. When they're in the pool, there's literally like Canadian flags hanging up by the pool. And then and then Sarsaparilla Trail is like a real trail outside of Ottawa. And then suddenly he's pretending like listen, I don't know American accents, but he's like in Tennessee or something. I just had no idea what was happening.
I assume that like since he's a brother-in-law, he probably just I don't
he's
know.
an immigrant.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll see. This is fine. That makes a lot of sense.
So oh yeah, he basically just like wants to stay there and drink, and he says something like, "Ain't nobody gonna get killed over one beer," and then the bartender's like, "No, you need to leave," basically. And
I just like that he's like what he calls though. He's like I'm in the middle of a case, and he's just like, better not be a case of beer, but he's just drinking like a draft beer,
a pint, yeah. So technically, I mean, he wasn't lying. I just like before he leaves the bartender, he's like, "See you at church on Sunday," and she's like, "All right, see you there."
They're also blatantly in like he's like drinking at the bar in like a rock club because there's like a band set up behind him.
Maybe like this part of it was not shot there because it's like both him and that lady were like Southern, and I think the other officer even like refers to his brother as like a hillbilly, or he says something to that effect. So I don't know.
Oh, so now the movie decides to have some like continuity.
Yeah,
like,
I don't know.
Okay.
So basically he's like, "I'm gonna go out the back." He's like walking up the back steps of this bar and just decides that he's going to go pee in the corner of the stairwell, which okay. Then we hear the shark growling and he gets eaten. But yeah, to your point, I don't really know how, because he like had nothing to do with the girls who summoned him, so he wasn't even in the woods. So I don't really understand like why the shark got him or like knew who he was, but whatever.
I think that the shark is a very pious individual because we're punishing people for their indiscretions, and his was peeing in a stairwell.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So,
all right.
Listen, I'm doing what I can to make sense of this.
Okay, so Jen is now on her way home with the groceries, and Ouija Shark is just like, I liked the scene too, because she's just like walking, and she just like casually looks behind her, and he's just like in the background, like facing the wrong way, just like floating. And I was like, what is he even doing? So she finally runs like a normal person, and he's like chasing her, and she thinks that like he wants the groceries, so she like throws the groceries down, but he just has a hunger for people, so he eats her and she's dead. So Jill's dad is in the car and calls her and says like, "Hey, we need to figure out like who owned this board because they trapped the spirit of a shark in there." And I sort of stopped paying attention after that to what he was saying, because
yeah. My favorite, she's like, "But how will I know who owns this Ouija board?" And he's like, "Well, good thing our family is deeply connected to the occult, and that should guide you." And I was like, what the fuck? Like, what does that even mean?
What does that mean? Yeah. I think if if you just throw the word occult on something, then
sounds legit.
It just explains it away, yeah. So, Kim is like gonna go swimming, I guess, but then she screams because Donna's arm is floating in the pool, and she is immediately eaten.
How did no one notice the arm in the pool?
But also there's like, so sometimes when the shark kills people, it's very like he leaves appendages behind, and sometimes it's more like a phantasmagoric death, like pop, and then they just disappear.
Yeah.
Like, full body into some other place. So like, but sometimes he leaves body part. I don't know.
I guess it's just like, we have enough money for 2 body part deaths, so we gotta plan them. I bet you the arm, though, is the same arm, right? They used for when the other girl got eaten, and they threw the arm on the...
Do you know how much they spent on this movie?
No.
$300.
That checks
really?
That's good, right? Like, that's value.
That is actually pretty impressive.
Yeah, So it probably was the same arm. I mean, they're very economical, I think.
Wow. Like, how much do you think it costs to make a shark puppet like that?
Probably not a lot. It's,
$64.
like it could just be something they found and like used, like they made.
Probably the
Yeah.
same
didn't
shop
make
where they
it.
found the Ouija board sign.
Probably.
home
Because
goods.
it's like, it's obviously not actually a big shark. I guess I didn't think about that. It's just like a little... Wah, 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 wah. It's like a little dollar store, like...
What was that?
Wow, 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 wow. That's the sound of it, like, its mouth chomping around.
I wish that had been the actual sound the shark made.
That would have
whenever it
been
popped
that-
up.
much
it's
better
so
than the like
good.
lion growl or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh,
Man. Yeah, I was in the last like shark movies we've been doing. I was not missing the random sound effect that they has assigned to the shark. I have to say that.
It's pretty good. I'm on board with it.
Kim? Oh wait, Kim got eaten. She's just gone. It was like bloop, she's gone. Jill runs immediately, and that's when Tiffany, the car wash girl, shows up, and it's just like, what did I that I'm like, girl, you were washing that car for overnight. Like, I mean, wow. I wish they would have shown them like in the dark, just like still washing the car or something. That would have been funny.
That's what I mean. They should have just had them like. It should have just been a long, like just like gone back like 2 days later, and they're still washing the car.
They just look really tired, like still trying to dance.
So the officer is now walking through the woods, and he's calling his brother-in-law, but he's not picking up. Then he finds the groceries. Tiffany and Jill run into the woods, and they like stop to catch their breath. And Tiffany says "Go shark" a bunch of times, and she is like pretty much just believes her that there's like a ghost shark killing people. She does say like, "Oh, that seems impossible," but she's like she is like a ride or die. She believes her. The ghost shark finds them. They run around. You know, this is when we get the one of the shots of him just like swimming above them for some reason.
Those are my fave.
Tiffany like trips and falls or something, and it's just like, keep going, I'll meet you at the car. And Jill Jill's like, get up and run, and then leaves her. And I was like,
It took you as long to say that,
right,
as it did to like pull this
her
girl to her
up.
feet.
So you know that did nothing because Tiffany immediately gets chomped. This is a scene I did not really understand where this shit came from, but Jill just like gets to her car and opens the trunk and just changes into a bunch of leather stuff and has a shotgun for some reason.
Yeah.
That's
Why not?
that also bothered me a lot. That we don't do that shit up here. Like that, I don't even know where one would get a shotgun of that caliber here.
See, my assumption is this movie is supposed to take place in like the South of America, like
Right.
Florida.
I mean,
But still,
I don't know.
that-
I'm fully on board with her turning into the Terminator for no reason and no purpose.
she also like didn't really have a moment where she decided that she was gonna turn into like a badass bitch and like fix this problem. She just was sort of like, her dad was like, hey, find who owns the board, and she was like, how? And then all of a sudden she was just like, I'm gonna change into pants and my leather jacket and my leather boots with the studs, and I have a gun and I'm ready now. And I was like, what?
What's her reasoning for shooting the shark? Like,
That's why the whole thing didn't make any sense to me.
Isn't that how you fight
He's
ghosts?
only kind of ghosty.
If I remember correctly, Ghostbusters was just 4 dudes with shotguns shooting at ghosts.
But they had like laser gun things.
No,
Yeah,
no,
and they
just
had, like,
shotgun
shotguns.
wasn't a laser.
suck 'em up.
Lasers to fight ghosts make sense to me, but not just a shotgun. I get the leather. Like, you need leather to fight ghosts, but you know.
Well, that's cinematic language for badass. I was like, okay, like she's
Right.
badass now. So okay, yeah. So
Like, before she was just basic because she was wearing shorts and like deck shoes, but now she's leveled
goth-
up.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
right. So in another baffling turn of events, a guy in a cloak shows up with an echoey voice, and he's got the Ouija board, and he's just like, hey, it was I who trapped the shark in here. And she has a moment where she, like, doesn't believe him, and I was like, okay, there's a ghost shark floating around. Like, I would just believe anything at that point. But he's essentially just like, I don't know how to stop this shark. Goodbye, and just, like, disappears.
It's so weird because it's just out of nowhere. It makes no sense.
And then this is when I was just like, it's just from this point on, it's just all very just crazy, because then the dad just, like, is at a psychic place, and she's like, oh, your daughter's in peril, and he's just like, hurry up, do something. And she was like, excuse me, sir, this is very taxing. I'm trying to concentrate. And he's like, oh, forgive me, I'm so sorry, you're right. And I was like, what is happening?
Every time that somebody's a bitch in this movie, they do promptly apologize. Like, he's like he like yells at her, and she's like, sir, this is difficult. And then he's like, oh, sorry. Like, and they always apologize. And she also, this psychic fortune teller, I like her disco rave fortune crystal ball.
To, like, her like magic ball that just, like, changes colors.
Flash it.
Yeah.
It's like a $10 little thing from, like, Party City or whatever. So she's basically just like, oh, I am psychic, and somehow she's going to distract the ghost shark, ? I don't really know. I don't know how. But, so then, like, I don't know, the shark is, like, we have some scenes of, like, Jill shooting at the shark, and the shark chasing her, and then the shark, like, lunges at her, but she holds up the Ouija board sign, and it just, like, goes away, and I was like, what? Then she just runs into some random house.
But she actually says, like, to the camera, I didn't think that would work.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when she holds up the board, and then she's like, oh, I didn't think that would work. Okay.
Oh, my God. So, yeah, so then she just, like, runs into somebody's house. The, psychic is essentially like, I don't know, this isn't really working, and the dad is like, let me do it, and then he picks up the crystal ball, and the shark shows up, and he's just like, ah, and, like, yelling, and the shark's just, like, flopping around the screen, and then they just, like, disappear in a puff of smoke, and the psychic goes, Mama said there'd be days like this. Okie dokie. Could you imagine having, like, your mom being like, now, daughter, someday a man might come and get attacked by a ghost shark, but it's just the way of our profession.
Yeah,
it happens.
It's like
These are the sacrifices.
Gotta be prepared.
Yeah.
That we make.
Oh, geez. So the shark is now chasing the officer again, and he also finds the house that Jill is in, and Jill explains that, like, oh, he, like, goes in the house and asks if she has got a permit for the gun, which I thought was pretty funny. She kind of, like, explains what's going on with the ghost shark, I guess. I don't know. And they're like, okay, we need to use the Ouija board to defeat the shark. And they don't have the huge ass planchette anymore.
Oh, my God.
So they're going to use a handgun.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I'm really confused as to, like, what the pointer part of the handgun was, because she's just kind of, like, sliding it around on top of the...
Well, it's the muzzle,
board,
because, like, she slides it around, but also she flips it, like, to do the letters sometimes. So, like, at one point, she's using it where it's just in the middle, and she goes, like, she just turns it instead of moving it.
Just, like, if you... wow. So I guess, you know, if you're ever in a pinch and you need to, like, close out your board, just grab your Glock. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
She is, like, talking. She's like, hello, is anyone there? Also, she's using the board by itself, which is not a thing, but that's fine. She's like, hi, is anyone there? And somehow the gun starts moving around, and she just knows it's her dad. And then... We get somehow the most ridiculous scene in this movie where the dad is a ghost up in the sky.
Oh my god.
And he is like wrestling with the shark and fighting the shark. And he's like, oh, I'm dead. Well, at least you can't hurt me. And so the shark bites him and he's like, ow, I've got to use my occult training. And then he uses a quote unquote mystic shield.
Yeah. It's like Doctor Strange, right?
Yeah. It's like a Doctor Strange moment. And then he's just like, haha, and he runs at the shark, and then it pans out and shows an explosion.
But
like,
you forgot the part where the shark can shoot fireballs, I think.
Oh, I didn't see that part.
Why hasn't the shark been shooting fireballs the entire movie?
That would actually improve it exponentially.
I think it could only
Yes,
do
I'd
it.
be so much more
It could only
invested.
do it up in heaven.
That's the $200 right there. Was
Yeah.
that
The
was that
fireball.
head and scene? Yeah, the mystic shield and the fireball. Oh my god.
This guy doesn't
So-
show up in like the next Marvel movie. I'm gonna be very upset.
There will be hell to pay.
Like, why? I mean, he's definitely better than Benedict Cumberbatch. I don't understand what happened there.
Yeah.
So then they think that the shark is gone, and so the cop says something like, what's stronger than a shark? And she goes, love in the human spirit.
Mhm.
But I guess not, because the shark is still alive. And she's like shooting at it, and she says something like, fuck you, fish face, I think is what
Yeah.
she says.
Fuck you, fish face.
But my
I'm
subtitle
gonna use that.
my subtitles said bitch face, which I also love. I was like, oh my god. And then she's shooting at it, it's not really working, and then she goes, this is for my dad, you aquatic douchebag.
Oh my
and
God, so good.
shoots the board, and the board explodes.
As someone who works with fish, I'm gonna use those turns of phrase like all the time now.
I
What
think
is-
aquatic douchebag really is a good, like, jab.
Take this, you aquatic douchebag.
Mhm.
Yeah, it rolls off the tongue.
I love it. Somehow this movie gets even crazier because the cloak guy it was in that house, and he's like walking down the stairs, and he has the board. The board is not destroyed, and he makes a call.
Oh boy, this
Here we go.
is some peak M. Night Shyamalan shit going on in this fucking ending.
I was really disturbed because I was thinking, like, okay, so he makes a call and the phone ring-a-lings outside of the White House. And I was like, this can go one of two ways. It could be fictional, which could be fine. If it goes the other way, I'm going to be pretty upset. So the phone rings, and then it shows the phone inside the White House, and there is a fucking MAGA hat there. And I'm like, what is happening?
That probably cost them the most out of any prop.
That $20 hat.
I'm hoping they just ripped it off some dude's head on the street and just used it.
So essentially, it is. Oh my god! It is. It is
worst Trump impersonation I've ever heard.
He also, down to he's got like, they only showed like his mouth, which
And his
makes me
hands.
so mad, and his hands that have like
Cheetos.
orange paint on them.
Yeah.
And he's like doing the impersonation, and basically the cloak guy is just like, hey, it worked. He does say like the East Coast is prepared or secured or something like that, and then the president says, prepare phase 2 of Operation Ouija Shark or something like that, and then it says Finn, and I was like, what in the what?
I mean, I'm not gonna
What?
lie. Based on that ending, I will watch a sequel if they make one, because now I gotta know what is happening.
So, and then we do get a really, really fun ending song, which a lot of these movies seem to do, where it's like we get the actual like shots of the actual actors and their credits while a Ouija Shark song is playing.
The song was it was good. It was catchy.
So
Yeah,
this song is from a band, like the the goat shirt that the main character is wearing is the band that wrote this song.
Yeah.
And they are on Bandcamp. But Ouija Shark, the song, is not.
Oh, bummer.
It's good.
So
yeah.
that was the Ouija Shark.
The most
Sorry,
baffling
guys.
ending I've seen to a movie in a long time.
I think overall there were like some pretty there were like some funny scenes. Like anytime the shark was there flopping around, I really liked that. But overall I think the acting was by far the worst of any movie aside from Last Vampire on Earth that we have seen. And it's like those parts in my eyes were not enough to redeem it. Like I do not recommend watching this movie.
I really would like that 1 hour and 11 minutes back. Like it felt like that's such a short investment, like in terms of a movie, but it dragged. Like there was so much filler.
There really was.
I would just really like that time back. I say that every time I come on this. I say
So, okay, Michelle, my question is, you did this movie, Nightmare Shark. This movie was far better than, Nightmare Sharks was far better than this movie, and you did Ice Sharks.
Ice Sharks.
Right? What's your ranking?
Out of those three,
Yeah.
I think number one would have to be Ice Sharks for me. I'm recalling like their dorsal fins cutting through the ice. It's pretty sinister. And then number two, Nightmare Shark, and this would have to be number three because like it just had too few redeeming qualities to like justify that really stilted, horrible dialogue. But then I thought the shark was pretty cute. Like he's pretty cute.
Yeah, he is.
He's pretty cute. But yeah, this is number three. This is
Like
dead last.
I don't know why I always expect the sharks in these movies to not look like just normal ass sharks. Like I don't know, like I'm always just like, oh, zombie shark, they're gonna look like zombies. Oh, like a Ouija shark, it's gonna look demonic some way because it's from a Ouija board and it's just like a normal shark. But maybe I'm just setting myself up for disappointment.
Is he like a literal bath toy that they purchased from like a dollar store? Like he looks like a rubber toy, right?
I can't really tell. Like he must be rubber because sometimes when he's doing his like nom 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 and he's like flopping.
He's cute.
I want to make a shark movie and have you just do all of the sound effects.
So I don't know. This is probably the worst movie that I've picked. You guys.
I don't know. You picked the elf.
Somnium's pretty dog shit.
Somnium was pretty bad too.
Oh. I feel like this was definitely more fun than Somnium. But if Somnium doesn't...
the big British twist at the end.
Somnium doesn't count
funny.
because we were trying to pick a bad movie. I'm not necessarily trying to pick something that I think is going to be terrible. Like, I mean, obviously I am, but I'm not trying to pick something that's like...
The Elf is still
painful.
The worst movie I've watched for this podcast, so...
I might agree, actually.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like, if you're gonna waste like an hour and you're specifically looking for like a bad shark movie, there's like way better ones, but like...
Yeah.
This wasn't like... For me, it wasn't like unbearable. It just was kind of boring.
Yeah, at least like it being short makes it not as bad. Like if it was a 2-hour movie, I think it would have been like unbearable.
I feel like the weird ass ending. Like by the time it got to the end, I was like, God, this is dumb as shit. And then the ending, I was just like, what is happening?
The last like 10 minutes of the movie were just kind of bad shit.
All right. Do you have a Zach Baggins tweet, or are we retiring that?
No, he's gone. He's R.I.P.
All right. Zach Baggins died.
Bilbo Baggins tweet.
He's gone. Yeah, Bilbo.
Yeah. Can you just do a Zach Baggins tweet, but in like elfish. I don't know what they speak.
No, they're hobbits.
So hobbitish.
They speak English, Nathan. Jeez.
They speak, yeah. They do like potatoes.
Do it in like
lot.
a New Zealand accent.
Oh, I can't. I don't think I can.
Oi!
Get that garbage off your head. Oh, there's a ghost shark.
Forgot to look up Weekly World News and see what they got going on. The prophecies of Nostradamus' kid brother Bob are revealed. And that's
Bob.
pretty much it. They've only had like one update since we recorded last.
Bob Stradamus.
Hollywood to use real monsters in new monster movies. I'd back that. No Batboy updates. I'm not here for that.
Aww.
The election's ramping up. Where's he at? Katie,
know.
do you have news?
For the first time ever, I don't have any news.
Newsless.
Well,
I am newsless.
Chadwick Boseman died. Which is
Oh.
a huge bummer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty sad.
I
sucks.
feel like there was something that was like a news story I saw like today or yesterday that I was gonna bring up.
Most of the things I've been seeing have been, again, like new teasers for stuff. Like they just put up a teaser for Haunting of Bly Manor,
Yes.
which I am extremely excited about because it's like the second season sort of Haunting of Hill House, which is on Netflix, and it looks amazing, so you can check that out. Then there's just like teasers. There's like a bunch of other teasers. There's like stuff coming to Blu-ray or like special editions of stuff. And a lot of it's, again, still just like newer movies that like I don't know.
I got some news.
What is it?
So you know the cult leader in Mandy, Jeremiah Sand.
Yeah.
I guess they actually recorded a full length album, like
Oh, shit.
for him as Jeremiah Sand, and Sacred Bones is going to be releasing it
That's amazing.
on Halloween.
Wow.
And they even have pre-orders up for an 8-track version, since it's supposed to be his lost 1974 album.
Wow. Is it like I still have not seen Mandy. Is it like crazy like Jim Jones kind of music, or like what is it?
It's like weird psychedelic folk stuff.
Oh, so
It's
yeah.
like when the movie came out, they released like a little 2-track thing, and one was a like 7-minute song, and then the other was like a 15-minute spoken word thing.
Wow. Well, that's fun.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna cave and get it because I'm a sucker.
Well, also, Color Out of Space is streaming on Shudder now, so I'm gonna watch that. Finally.
It rules.
I'm so excited.
I need this fucking 8-track. I'm trying to find it. Alright, so no news. Alright, shout-outs. Go ahead, Katie.
This is gonna be the shortest episode ever. I don't really have any. What have I done? I finished. I said I'd been binging regular show, and I finished it, and I just love it so much. The ending is so good. I feel like a lot of times for shows, whenever I don't know if this was like a forced cancel or what, or if they just decided to end it, but I feel like a lot of times the last season is not the strongest for shows, and I feel like this was story-wise like one of their strongest and one of the most like well-written endings for like especially a cartoon show. So I thought that was amazing. And then I remembered that I hadn't finished Gravity Falls, which I've talked about a bunch, so I finished that in the same day, and so I was just like a friggin' wreck. But I definitely recommend those two.
I've meant to watch Gravity Falls, but I've just like never gotten around to it. I've heard it's like really good.
It is really good because, well, I think, like, first of all, unless you're somebody who already watches cartoons, it's hard to get people to check out cartoon, like, animated. Well, they're not cartoons, right? It's not, like, Bugs Bunny or whatever. They're animated. And I think that Gravity Falls was originally on Disney XD or whatever, so it is a little bit more cartoonish looking than, like, you know, Simpsons and all that kind of stuff is. But the plot is basically like these two brother and sister twins go to live in this like town where crazy stuff happens. So there's a lot of like cryptid kind of stuff that happens, and it's very good and funny. So yeah.
All right. What about you, Kit?
I'm gonna go with You Cannot Kill David Arquette.
Yeah.
It's
I think I'm
Oh,
really
did you
good.
watch it?
Yeah, it was really good. Really good. Look at his wrestling comeback, and also wrestling fans are huge jerks, and it made me sad.
100%.
What did you watch it on?
I just rented it through iTunes.
Okay. I want to see it.
Yeah, I want to see. I'm like waiting. I think Caitlin and I are gonna try and go see Bill and Ted at the drive-in. So I'm like
Oh, hell
waiting.
yeah.
If that ends up leaving or I'm not able to, I think I'm gonna just do like a double header one night of the new Bill and Ted and then the David Arquette movie, and then I think in a week that Vampiro movie comes out, that documentary about.
Oh,
him,
yeah.
So I kind of want to watch that too. All right, Michelle, do you want to shout something out?
Sure. Since we saw kind of like the worst that like Ottawa's film scene has to offer, I'll shout out another B grade horror movie director out of Ottawa whose stuff I actually really like. His name is Lee Demarbre. I'm pronouncing that wrong. Demarbre, Demarbre, and he is like this Ottawa-based director who produces these kind of culty movies, such as Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter, and my personal favorite, 2009's Smash Cut. And they just come from somebody, I think, who has a real love of the genre, and like a lot of it is very like tongue-in-cheek. So I'm going to give a shout out to Lee as a B-grade kind of cult horror director of note out of the same community. He also owns this theater in Ottawa and like has this like just the most like wonderful culty programming. And they are the theater. They started the monthly screening of The Room, that terrible movie with Tommy Wiseau. They screen it monthly, and they yeah, and Wiseau has like been to Ottawa and been to the Mayfair because they have been doing that the longest out of any theater anywhere, and it was Lee who started that. So my shout out will be to filmmaker Lee Demarbre, who has no idea who I am, but who I quite admire.
Sounds amazing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Mine are both things I've shouted out a bunch on this podcast, but I have not done anything new. I've just been working. But still listening to Knowledge Fight because they have like 470 episodes that are like 2 to 3 hours long. But I've almost to 2020 catching up on
Jesus.
it. But I got to an episode where they go through the depositions of like Alex Jones and two of his staff members during the Sandy Hook investigation. And it's just,
Oh my God.
as somebody that's super gossipy and shit, it's just it's so good.
Did they mention him forgetting his kids' names because he had a big bowl of chili for lunch?
No.
Because it
What?
remains the funniest thing I've ever heard.
The part of it is you listen to Paul Joseph Watson's deposition, who spends the entire time basically just being like, yeah, Alex Jones is a big fat dummy. I don't know what to tell you. And then also,
I like to go on the record.
he basically spends the whole time that like the people, like the prosecution or whatever, is just like, so you guys talked to like this guy and blah blah blah, and he had like this to say about like, you know, Sandy Hook or whatever, and Paul Joseph Watson is just kind of like, yeah, that person's crazy. And he's like, well, it's interesting because Alex Jones said the same thing the next day, and he's just like, so are you saying Alex Jones is crazy? And he's like, well, I kind of, I guess this is pretty fucking funny. And then also the band Stay Inside, because they're real good, and I've been listening to them still. So those are mine. All right, next week is our 2-year anniversary episode.
Wow.
Oh shit!
Aw.
So we're doing Jaws: The Revenge.
Yes.
So we get to market with Kit's favorite shark movie.
I'm so excited.
Katie, have you seen this movie?
No,
Oh,
I've
God.
barely seen Jaws.
Dare you.
It's got one of my favorite cinema lines of all time in it.
So
I'm excited.
this
Fuck you,
is
fish face.
yes, Michael Caine and Michael
Take
Caine's
that, you
voice.
aquatic douchebag.
So this is what I expect is for Katie to watch Jaws: The Revenge, Ice Sharks, and Bait 3D.
Uh,
No, I
Maybe.
don't actually expect you to do that. So watch Bait 3D if you can.
okay.
Your rules.
Yes. So I think Jaws: The Revenge is only on rental right now. I think the only thing it's free on is like HBO Max or some shit. So I don't know. Go spend $2 and watch the best Jaws movie.
How many are there?
4.
4.
Four, that's what I thought. Okay. And this is the second
This
one?
is 4.
The 4th.
Oh, this is 4. Oh, okay.
You'll understand why they didn't make any more after this one.
Oh, God. Okay.
All right. So, Michelle, do you have anything you want to plug? Like where people could find you, anything like that?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Michelle_Olsen, Olsen, like the Olsen twins. No relation. I also do have my own podcast called Are You Afraid of the Bark? But it's sort of on this hiatus right now, so not a lot of new content. But if you want to check out seasons 1 and 2, they're all available for your listening pleasure. So on Twitter, I'm at Afraid of the Bark, and fingers crossed we'll see some new content there at some point in future. But I make no promises because the world's on fire.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, it's called Are You Afraid of the Bark? All about supernatural animal stories. So if cat ghosts are your thing, you're really going to like it.
Well, we just did a documentary about a shark ghost, so you could just,
Documentary.
Oh, it's documentary, yeah.
retell
Yeah,
the story of Ouija shark.
I think what's really important on my podcast is that historical accuracy. So I'll look into it.
Yeah, go listen to the back catalog of Are You Afraid of the Bark? It's real good. I like it a lot.
Aw.
All right, you can follow us on Twitter at IVSuffer and Instagram at IVSuffer Podcast. Leave us ratings and all that shit on iTunes. We have shark shirts for sale on storefrontier.com/IHopeYouSuffer. I got mine in. They are very good.
Yeah, that tank, that teal one looks so good in
It
person.
rules. It's pretty awesome. Cobblestone Street Shark. Sure. Listen to Kit's back catalog on Riff Raff. I assume you guys just are not doing that anymore. 'Cause the
Yeah, we
world's
haven't
on
really
fire.
talked about it. Yeah.
Um,
Australia, literally on
yeah,
fire.
Australia's just now, from what I understand, just starting to get hit hard with COVID shit, so that's a bummer. Follow Katie at Werewolf Face now that she's done with August things.
Oh my gosh, man, it was quite the journey. I cannot believe it's been a month already, though, to be honest.
Yeah. You can listen to my other podcast named Kate Movie Club. That's it. No more pitching. Thanks for coming back on, Michelle. We love you.
Oh, it's
We like
it's
having
always
you
my
on.
pleasure.
I had the idea where I was like, we should see if Michelle wants to do all a month of shark movies. Then we were like, we're gonna do 2 months, and I was like, that's a lot.
That's a lot, even for me. That's a lot of sharks.
So we had you come on. What is probably not
For
gonna
the-
be the worst one because I imagine Jersey Shore shark attack's gonna be pretty terrible.
Oh yeah,
I don't know what Kit's gonna pick for the end of the month, so
I gotta find something real bad.
I think this will probably be the worst one that we make Michelle watch, though. Hopefully.
We'll see. I'll find something.
I've done my time.
Next time, Jaws 3D.
I'm gonna go watch. What was that? Ouija Geist. I'm gonna watch all.
I watched the
terrible
trailer
Ouija
for
movies.
that, and oh boy.
Oh man.
Just wait. We'll do that on the podcast at some point.
Oh jeez.
All right. Thanks for coming back, Michelle.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right. I hope you suffer, but why?
Shark growling. I can't growl.
What?
It's the best I got.
Nom 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 nom.
These signals go back and forth in my side. I stand by waiting, 'cause you told me the motion erases. I wash in your wake, float in my own filth, dig my heels into the silt.